So we're going to go live and we're going to be talking today a little bit about how to leverage artificial intelligence or AI to improve profitability and efficiency for kitchen, bath remodeling contractors, really anybody in the home services. This is really, an emerging piece of technology that's getting better every day. And I know a lot of people, they're looking to figure out, how do I use this for me? So one of the things I want to kind of talk about a little bit before we even get started is who's on this call, in terms of who's going to be presenting this and why you might want to even listen to us, what the heck we have to say. So I'm going to just start out with who I am. My name is Mike Goldstein. I'm the founder of Kitchen Remodeling SEO. We basically work extensively with kitchen and bath remodeling contractors, home remodelers, kitchen designers, cabinetry folks, essentially anybody who's involved in some capacity with the kitchen, the bathroom, or the home remodeling space. We have been we've been running a marketing company for many, many years. Currently, we manage over $900,000 in Google and Facebook ad spend every year, in addition to helping dozens of folks optimize their Google profiles, optimize their SEO to get found on Google. And a big part of how we do that now is we are utilizing AI tools for a combination of analysis for figuring out how we can make everything better, more efficient, and more profitable. Been doing this since 1999. I like to tell people I've been doing digital marketing longer than Google has. Um, and we were recently a speaker at the KBIS, the National Kitchen Bath Association trade show out in Vegas. And I am also the author of the Kitchen Remodeler's Guide to Local SEO, and soon to be released the Kitchen Remodeler's Guide to Prompting with AI. With me today, we are so very lucky that we have Jonathan Mast, one of the foremost experts in the AI consulting business. He is with Whitebeard. Jonathan, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. I couldn't possibly do you justice.
Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and chat with your audience. Yeah, my name's Jonathan Mast, and I run an agency called Whitebeard Strategies, and we are solely focused on helping businesses leverage AI to improve their bottom line, to save time, and to deliver more value to their clients. So that's what we're here, and I'm really excited to chat about that today.
All right. So the first thing that we really want to talk about is, how do you become more efficient with AI? And what really is AI? How is it working in today's marketplace? And the biggest thing that I really want to emphasize is that artificial intelligence is a tool. It is not an employee. We're not using this to replace human beings. We're not going to all of a sudden eliminate the copywriter from the world. We're not all of a sudden going to eliminate certain tasks, but rather what we're able to do is we're able to make people much more efficient, and you can do more in your job. So what I mean by that is you can't rely on AI tools like ChatGPT, like Claude, Rank Math, all sorts of CRM systems to be your next best employee or to be your virtual assistant. But what you can do, if you treat it like a tool and you utilize it properly, you can make that virtual assistant, you can make that associate, you can make that employee that much better. They can 10x their productivity by using these tools. And this is why I say that AI isn't going to replace people. It's not going to become the next artificial employee, but rather it's just going to make everybody that much better. So let's first talk a little bit about kind of the role that we see AI have in improving efficiency. So in terms of the home services space, the kitchen designer, the remodeler, the cabinet builder, people like that, how is it helping? Well, there's a lot of different ways. The biggest thing is that we're able to slash our time requirements. We're able to slash our costs for a lot of repetitive tasks, a lot of simple things that maybe you don't actually need somebody to do. And now that person who was doing those simple mundane tasks can do more complex things, or they can take that same task and they can do it 10 times faster. We can do this by optimizing marketing strategies. We can use this to help to predict outcomes. For example, we could look at, how do we forecast how much material we're going to need over the next month? How do we know, what the latest design trends are going to be based on Google searches, based on a whole host of different data sources, and we can upload all of that data into a program and help generate predictive results. We can use AI to automate tasks, like I talked about before. For example, someone books a consultation with you for your kitchen design, your kitchen remodeling business. You want to make sure that they don't forget. This is not new stuff. Your dentist has been doing this for years. You've been getting text messages a day before your appointment, an hour before your appointment. You've been getting emails prepping you for it. These are simple things that we don't need a human to do, but rather, what if we had a human who could program a system to send off all of those auto reminders? What if once someone came into our ecosystem, we had a series of 52 weeks of emails that are going to go out every Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. to somebody, so that now it's predictable. They know they're going to get something from you. You know it's going to go out. But now again, this isn't something where you've got to have to hit that send button and look at every person. Who do I have to send to this week or have to send to next week? AI can figure that out for you, and it's going to free up a lot of resources. Jonathan, I don't know if you have anything to add in terms of some of the things that you have seen where, where that has been really helpful.
No, I'd be happy to. I think, you're hitting here on one of the best things, and that's that AI is an amplifier. When we already have some talent and skill, it does an amazing job of amplifying that. And I think, as you list out some of the things here that are great, it's certainly good at some of the marketing tasks and things like that you've done. But I also want to encourage everybody on the call to really understand the value that AI tools have in just helping us do some of those repetitive and ongoing tasks that we have, even operationally. Whether that's creating a standard operating procedure so that our team knows what they're supposed to do after they're done with a job, or how they're supposed to leave that job at the end of the day. Maybe it's creating a checklist that we want to make sure that, again, our team has, so that we know every time we're out there that that client's being treated in the same way, and we're creating those same great relationships and experiences for our customers. So there's so much there. One of my favorite things to do, and I think probably it works for everybody in business, is just to use it to help us rewrite messages and communicate better. I use it every single day to help me write better email messages, where I've got an idea of what I want to say, and I can put some bullets together, but I don't really probably want to take the time more than anything else to really craft that message. And AI is a great tool to help me do that effectively. I can feed it your email, Mike, that you sent me, and say, here's what I'm anticipating responding with. Now, please proofread and make this more readable, make it easier to understand. And it gets me literally 95 to 99% of the way there when I do that. And that saves, just for me as an entrepreneur and a business owner, that one task probably saves me 30 minutes a day in just crafting emails alone.
And it's interesting that you say that, because one of the other things that you can use when you're writing emails with AI is to improve customer service. A big
Yes.
thing, sometimes you're going they're not happy. They're angry about this or that. And your gut reaction is to become defensive sometimes. Your gut reaction is to have a little bit of emotion. And one of my favorite things to do is, and I have everybody on my team do this, if you're going to respond to somebody in any way, I want you to use this prompt. I want you to say, you know, I want you to read and review my email. I'm trying to get to whatever the goal is.
Hmm.
Please remove or rewrite any emotional statement so that it is more factual. By doing that, I think you save yourself from escalating a situation to de-escalating it. And that's something that human nature actually kind of goes against, because we have a tendency to become defensive, where the software can actually take that out and take that step back for us.
No, I think that's a great example, Mike, and I think one that's so true. One that I had the other day, I got a 1-star review from a customer, and I'll admit I've never gotten a 1-star review. And the problem with it is that they had thought they'd bought something, they didn't get anything from us, and I immediately, like you said, I wanted to get defensive and go, "Well, what are you talking about? We never got an order for that." But I let AI respond instead, and the amazing part was, then the response I got back from the customer was, "Oops, I guess I made a mistake." And then we had ChatGPT help us write a response to request the removal of the one-star review, letting them know at the same time, if they wanted this product, we'd be more than happy to expedite it and get it taken care of for them. And now we ended up with a 5-star review literally over the course of about 30 minutes, simply because we didn't do what I wanted to do, which was get all defensive.
And that's a great example. So going back a little bit to Jonathan had brought up before, standard operating procedures, SOPs. This is a great way where you can use AI to help you be more efficient, particularly where a standard operating procedure is already meant to create systems and processes so that you are more efficient. So let's talk about this sample example here. So we're developing an SOP for handling customer inquiries from the
Mm.
initial contact through the project completion. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I create a document that allows my staff to essentially know, how do I do this? So what do I do? Well, the first thing is I get into ChatGPT 4 or 3.5 if you don't have the paid version. And we're going to get into some of the benefits of having the paid version in a little bit, because there are a lot of them and it's a very minimal investment. It's $20 a month. Um, but the first thing, we want to ask it to act like somebody in customer service. We want to prime it, right? And then particularly, I want you to have customer service experience within the kitchen remodeling industry. Then after we do that, I want to ask it for very specific goals within the standard operating procedures, such as maybe I want to improve my response time. I want to ensure that there's consistent communication. I want to enhance the customer set, whatever it may be. And then I'm going to request ChatGPT actually draft an outline. I'm not just going to ask it to create the standard operating procedure, because let me see what are the things that we need to
Hmm.
include. Then once we get to that, we may want to ask for some clarification, update that a little bit, kind of really dial in the outline. And then finally, once we have what we want, we ask the system to actually create that document. There are some AIs that can even then take that document, and then maybe you can create some images to go with it and then put it all into a PDF and distribute. And then even further, you got to go to a different AI system, but maybe now you put it into your email program that's going to send it off to everybody on a list, all your internal employees. So this is one way that we can really use AI to create systems and to help us really outline so that we don't miss steps to become really efficient. Another example, and this is where we're going to talk about ChatGPT 4 more so than just anything else. And Jonathan, please chime in if you want to talk
I'll
about
be happy to.
Gemini, talk about Claude 3, and all the others. But for purposes today, I'm just going to stick with ChatGPT 4. There's a tool called the Data Analyzer. And essentially what it allows you to do is I can take a spreadsheet. I can take any type of data that I want and upload it just like you
Hmm.
might upload an image to an email, and it's going to read through all of that information. And then it's going to spit out basically, yes, I have understand it. What do you want me to do with it? And you're going to ask it to do something. So in this case, we're going to use the data analyzer to review maybe some past project estimates. We could use it to identify common areas where we're having discrepancies between what was actual and what actually happened. Then we're going to ask it to summarize that and to find us the commonalities. Then after that, we're going to try and create a document that will help us identify steps we can take so that moving forward, we don't have those errors. We don't have those discrepancies. And those discrepancies, this could be very costly. It could mean that maybe we bought more material than we needed. It might mean that I put on an extra person on a crew, or I didn't have the extra person on the crew I needed, and it caused delays. All of these things are really critical. Just by way of example, in my world, what I do is often I will look at Google's quality rating guidelines. I'll look at Google's spam policies that get updated very frequently. And I'll say to ChatGPT, hey, I want you to go to this website. I want you to read this PDF that was just updated. And based on that, I want you to analyze the web content on a page and tell me, just based solely on the guidelines, where there are gaps. Something as simple as that allows me to take a 167-page document, and in a matter of minutes, I have an analysis of, does my existing content comply with the latest update?
I think that's probably one of the most underutilized aspects of ChatGPT right now, Mike. And it gives us the ability as business owners to take this data that we get, the data that we get access to, the data that often sits in my to be read pile and doesn't get read, very candidly. And now we can upload that and we can literally have a conversation with it, as well as, like you pointed out, we can actually ask it to compare and contrast to what we're doing. I love your example there with, new guidelines, and then look at my website and am I in compliance? Am I following those guidelines? And instead of you having to, first of all, read that report, try to understand that report, something that at a minimum is going to take 30 to 45 minutes, maybe a lot longer, then taking a look at your website. And if you're like me, just scratching your head and kind of giving up at some point and going, I don't know, I think it's close. Now you've actually got something you can look at that can analyze that report, analyze those requirements, and give you feedback on that. And it can be done with anything that's in a PDF or a spreadsheet. And the most amazing thing to me, Mike, is it actually gives us the ability to, if you can imagine, carrying on a conversation with that. So, you mentioned here about your cost estimates. You literally can have it go in there and you can say, where did we miss up? What could we do to improve this? And it'll give you suggestions based upon the data in there. I think it's, like I said, one of the most powerful and probably underutilized aspects of ChatGPT.
Absolutely. So the next thing that we want to look at now is personalizing the customer experience. And really, what does that mean? Right? So when we want to personalize the experience, we want to use the AI to allow us to really give us information that the average, that changes based on what's really coming in. And again, this is where we're going to want to upload information. We're always priming the system. And before we get to that, and I'm just going to take a step back here. In order to do anything with any AI system, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, even Midjourney, if we're trying to create images, or in video, if we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to create video or whatnot, we need to know how to prompt it. And Jonathan here has actually come up with a fantastic but very simplistic system as to how to prompt. Why don't you talk a little bit about what that prompting system means, or how you might go about writing these prompts so that anyone watching this webinar can then take some of these more complex ideas and implement them.
I'd be happy to. Thanks, Mike. So if you're like me and any other business owner I've ever talked to, you get emails all the time, or you see stuff on social media about buy my list of 387 prompts for the kitchen remodeling business. Buy this, buy that. And it's all these lists of prompts. I've bought tons of them because I run a large group, and so I do a lot of testing. And I can tell you, none of them are worth the paper they're written on. Literally, it's dumb things like write a blog post about kitchen remodeling. That's not going to get you good quality content. So over the last year plus, I've worked really hard to develop a simple system that you can use to get the best possible responses out of any of the AI models, whether that's ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, and even to a certain extent, the image tools that Mike mentioned, like Dolly and Midjourney. The process is simple. It's 4 steps. The first step is you need to tell ChatGPT how it should act. Mike did a great job of that earlier, talking about you should act as though you're a business consultant with specialty knowledge in kitchen and bath remodeling. That's important because we're bringing this massive context that ChatGPT has down and narrowing it down into something that it knows. That means it's going to do a better job of answering you because it now knows where to focus. The second thing we need to do is we need to give it some background. Myself and others, we often forget that ChatGPT can't read our minds. So we need to give it some relevant background information that pertains to our question. Maybe that's just our name and our contact information. Maybe it's the type of work that we do. Maybe it's this a specific service that you offer. You need to give it background information that relates to your question. The third part's simple. It's your question, what it is that you want ChatGPT to do. And this is the one part that most people are really good at, that third part. What do I want ChatGPT to do? So we've got part 1, tell ChatGPT how to act. And by the way, that could be any of the models. Step 2, here's relevant information about the question I'm going to ask you next. And then 3, here's my question. The fourth part to me is probably the biggest secret that will get you better responses than anything else. And that's to say, please ask me any clarifying questions you need and allow me to respond before giving me your best response. And the reason that's so important, Mike, and for your listeners, is the fact that ChatGPT and the other models are trained to fill in the gaps and make assumptions. And the problem with that is if I forget because I don't know any better, or just because my ADD kicked in, and I forget to give ChatGPT some relevant information, it's going to fill that in. And 9 times out of 10, it's not what I wanted it to fill it in with. It's going to get the answer less accurate as a result of that. But by giving it permission and instructing it, please ask me clarifying questions and allow me to respond before you give me the response. If you've forgotten something, which I do regularly, it's now going to say, oh, by the way, Jonathan, you forgot about this. What about this? Or what about that? So if I'm doing an SOP and I forgot to mention something specific, it's going to ask me questions about that. And I'm still blown away by the speed at which it will do that. And then when I give it the answers, it'll give my response. So it's 4 simple steps. Who do you want ChatGPT to act like? Background information, your question, and then ask me questions for clarification. If you follow that formula, you can ask ChatGPT almost anything in the world and get a good response out of it.
And then just to take that a step further is once you get that response, I like to add an added level of clarification of, hey, can you expand upon this or that they've answered? Because
Yes.
oftentimes you don't get everything that you want, or and treat it like a conversation. If I was talking to a human being and they gave me an answer, I wouldn't just say, oh, okay, turn around and walk away. Right? You would ask a follow-up question. Oh, that's really interesting. Tell me more about what you just said about this or that. So that's, and I find that oftentimes I always do that with every prompting sequence is at the end of it. I'll add because I want to get more. I always want more information. Um,
That's amazing
with
advice,
that,
Mike, and I agree. Super important.
thank you. So with that, I want to kind of get back to what we were talking about is boosting profitability. So we talked a lot about ChatGPT, which is a business data analysis tool. It's a content generation tool. It's an image generation tool if we tie in DALI and whatnot. But there are other programs too that we want to look at. One of the things that a lot of people don't think about when they talk AI is CRM systems and how you can take your CRM system and apply some AI. So, for example, if you're a kitchen remodeler and you want to get somebody a quote on what is it going to cost to remodel my kitchen. You may go into something like a Go High Level or a Salesforce or HubSpot or any of the CRMs out there, and you can build out a form. And in that form, you can have conditional questions and ask a question like, do you want to replace your cabinets? Yes or no? If yes, then you're going to start asking, what kind of material do you want? How many cabinets do you have? Do you need to replace or reface it? All of these types of questions. And then based on that, you can run calculations in the background and give somebody a range at the end of the day. But more than that, someone now has come into your system. They've given the system some data. They've given an email, they've given a cell phone, they've given a name, they've given all kinds of information about what they want to do in their kitchen. So now we can use that CRM system to enhance our lead generation and even our conversion. Now I can send off emails and text messages based specifically on the information you just gave me. You don't want to replace your cabinets. All you want is a new countertop. Why in the world would I want to send you an email about, is white shaker cabinets going to be trending in 2024? I don't. But this gives me the ability to at scale. I don't have to think about individual email I'm going to send off, build logic into these systems, and I can send off that long-term nurture sequence. I can send off whatever it might be to help me improve my conversion rate so that people think I'm talking to them. I'm personalizing the use of this. So let me ask you guys, and we're certainly not through yet, but just kind of as we're going through this a little bit, what did you learn with this? I mean, what are you noticing? Are you noticing that there's anything in your business that you can actually take from this and you can implement today? Is there anything that you're taking away from this that you might want to share with your team members? Take a minute and kind of jot that down because this is something that I find a lot of people they jump into a webinar, they read a book, they do whatever, and then it stops there. But think about, is there really something here I can implement? Is there something that, or Could I reach out to someone? Maybe I need to learn a little bit more about it, but maybe I need to read up on it. But is there something that could make a difference and make a difference today? And how can I implement that? So we actually jumped ahead a little bit here. This Zach, we're actually going to get into Jonathan's prompting framework. Sorry about that, guys.
That's okay.
Um, I'm not going to make you do it again. So,
There, no, you got
but
it right there. That's great. That's great.
yeah, but this is something you all might want to take a screenshot of this if you're on Zoom, just because I think this is very helpful. I'm just going to pause for about 30 seconds to let you take that screenshot, hit that print screen button, save it, go into Paint, go into Photoshop, whatever, go into Word, and just Control V it, save this, and then post. And what I do is I have this, and I have it posted on my whiteboard, right? Just so you always keep it, kind of front and center. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what some of the things that we are seeing AI is starting to do that it can do more so in the future. Emerging technologies, are always coming, but how do we look at AI? So one of the things I like to say about AI is it's kind of like the fortune teller of the 21st century. It can predict trends. It can predict what I need to do in order to better improve my business so that I don't buy too much, so that I have the right people, so I have the right systems and the processes in place. One of the big things is customer service, is how can I use AI in the future to create almost a virtual reality consultant? How can I provide information specifically that the AI can communicate with people? Well, one of the things that we're doing right now is we're building chatbots. We're building chatbots in Facebook Messenger, and we're tying those chatbots back into the open AI, into ChatGPT essentially, without getting into the technical language. And we're letting people ask questions, but the chatbot has already gone and it's scanned your website. We fed it dozens and dozens of pages of information about your company so that it now knows and it can have conversations. Now, there are programs out there, and Jonathan and I were talking about one of them just before we got on today, which is something called HeyGen, which can literally clone your likeness and your voice. The voice part's the scary thing,
Hmm.
because you can literally just type out something and it will make it sound like you are saying it. But I think eventually we're gonna be able to tie Chat GPT into something like this, where we're gonna be able to have it looks like a human being, not a cartoon, not an avatar, and it's going to then be able to respond in real time. So that's something to look forward to. I think also being able to leverage AI and enhance the customer engagement and satisfaction through kind of more project visualizations. And this is obviously something that we're already doing a lot now, where someone takes a photo of their kitchen, they upload it, and all of a sudden the AI can say, "Oh, it looks like, you need to replace this cabinet with this material, or that material might be better." Right now we have visualizers, and you pick what it is that you want to change, and it'll show you what the new kitchen will look like. Imagine a system where the AI can actually recommend the material, recommend maybe moving a sink here or there, doing something like that. And then obviously setting kind of industry standards by integrating advanced AI tools, distinguishing your brand is really going to be big. Is how do we use AI to essentially put your brand front and center and change the messaging based on how someone has already engaged with you, where they've engaged with you, and all that. Very similar to how we're using retarget marketing with paid ads these days. So, I mean, Jonathan, is there anything that you're seeing in terms of what emerging technologies or what's coming down the pike that you think in the home services space could really be a game changer?
I think one of the things you mentioned there, Mike, that's going to be a huge thing is just the ability to show people what the projects are going to look like using some of the virtual reality and things like that. We're very close already to the ability to take a picture of something and then have the system automatically update that based upon the project that the client wants done. Again, showing those new cabinets, showing that remodeled kitchen, showing that new bathroom. We're going to very quickly get to the point that you're going to be able to put in the products and services that you're familiar with. And instead of you having to manually go through and select everything, AI is going to be able to analyze that and pull that in and create those 3D rendered drawings in a virtual reality. And not just a drawing, but imagine, like Mike was talking about, that immersive capability to walk into that new virtual bathroom of theirs or that new virtual kitchen and turn around and see it and look at it and open doors and open the refrigerator and see what it looks like. I mean, I believe by the end of the year, we'll be at a point where we can probably do that. Right now, we're already at a point where we can utilize AI, as you mentioned, to do so much of that and to help drive our client down the road of where they want to go. I love the personalization aspects probably more than anything else, and that it'll be so much easier to personalize that response to each and every customer that we're working with.
Thanks. I mean, and I think that's really, it's really going to be big. The more the technology comes out, the more affordable it is, the easier it is to use, the more we're going to use it. And people who adapt with this technology, I think, are going to see just a massive shift in how much they can accomplish. So let's talk, again, a little bit about what it is that, you may have learned. I think, for me, the biggest thing is, how do I prompt a system to give me the results that I want? One of the things that Google has come out with very recently is the statement that we are going to de-index 40% of the unhelpful content on the internet over the course of the next month or two. Well, why is that? It's because a lot of people were using ChatGPT and they were saying, write me a blog about kitchen remodeling. Well, what did you expect when that's all you gave it? But if
Exactly.
I say, I want you to act like an expert kitchen remodeling and designer, and I want you to read these 10 different articles that the National Kitchen Bath Association wrote about the latest trends in cabinetry, countertops, and backsplashes. Then I want you to write me a 1,500 word blog article that uses markdown format, bold, italics, underline, and internally links to pages that are found on this XML sitemap, and generate that for me. Now, if you're unclear about any of that, before you start writing, let me know what it is that you need to know. How much better would that blog article be than, hey, write me an article about kitchen remodeling? Think about that. So it's something as simple as that to something as complex as, can I go and get a HeyGen account and create an avatar? And can I start putting content out? Because I'm kind of nervous. I don't want to go on video. He's pretty good on video. I have no problem going on video. I think anyone who's seen me and seen Jonathan, goodness, you're on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and God knows where else. But a lot of folks, they're not so comfortable. Use the AI technology to create you online.
Yes.
So what is it that you've noticed? What have you learned? What do you want to share? Really think about that. And then what I would recommend is just writing down 3 things and take those back, share them with your team, and say, hey, let's implement this week. Don't just write it down and put it on the desk. God knows I do that enough, right? But let's have some speed to implementation. Let's get an idea and let's say, what is it that I can actually do on my own, that I don't need to hire somebody for, that I don't need to research more, but just something simple. Might be as simple as get a subscription to Midjourney and start creating some images. So one of the things that I would ask is, you guys are in the kitchen remodeling space, you're in the home remodeling, you're in the cabinetry space, you're in the home service in some capacity. How are you doing generating the leads? Because you can't use any of this AI stuff. You can't improve your business if you don't have customers. So one thing that I would certainly recommend is downloading our checklist, and we're actually going to be sending a checklist to everybody on this webinar today. And if you are watching the replay, you can check this out at kitchenremodeling SEO.com. And there's a button right on top of the homepage that lets you download this and gives you some actionable steps that you can take to make sure that your website is right, that your paid ads are right, that you're using AI right. Um, but if you're looking to improve, if you want some help, if you just want to talk, feel free. You can always reach out to me. You can always give us a call at 339-645-9461. You can check us out online at kitchenremodeling SEO.com. You know, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram. We're all the same places. Um, and I'd love to find out more about your business and kind of what you have going on, and maybe there's something that I can do to help you. Um, and we're not talking about hiring us to run your marketing. We're happy to do that. We're happy to take a look and to do a full digital audit for you. But even if you just want to kind of run some ideas by us, I mean, the way that we get better and the way that we stay up to date in the industry is by talking to people and finding out what's working for you. You also can check out the podcast, which is Crushing It with Kitchen Remodeling. And we talk to people just like you all the time, and we share those stories. So if that's something that would interest you, please reach out. Don't hesitate. And like I said, we do offer free online marketing plan reviews, but call us anytime, talk about anything. We love to hear about it. And from there, I guess we can move forward. Jonathan, do you have any kind of closing remarks? Anything you'd want to leave the audience with?
I think I want to just reiterate what you had said, Mike. I think it's so important that you take a look at AI in your business and say, okay, what are a couple things that I can do today? Don't go, well, next week we'll get around to it, or I'll think about it over the weekend, because that never happens. Start using. Don't worry about being perfect. Don't worry about getting the perfect response today. Start using it. It's no different than anything else we've ever done in our lives. The first time that you did your first ever bathroom or kitchen remodel, you were nervous because you didn't necessarily know what to expect. And the same thing is going to be true as you're using AI for the first time. But the good news is, by the time you did your 10th or your 15th or your 100th project, this was old hat. And that exact same thing will happen with AI. I really believe, Mike, that AI is going to be one of those incredible tools that helps businesses get a leap ahead of their competition. And it's those businesses that embrace AI and figure out how to use it in their operations in order to, again, save time, improve, profit margins, and ultimately deliver more value to the clients, that are going to succeed as a result of that. And the really cool thing about AI is we can use it to do all three of those things at the same time. In other words, we can save time, improve margins, and deliver more value to our clients by utilizing these tools nowadays. So just get started. Start simple, but start today.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Jonathan. Really appreciate it.
Thank
For all
you.
those of you who are online today, thanks for joining us live. For those of you watching the replay, thanks for tuning in. I hope you all learned something. I hope you all take something away from this and you implement it today. So for Jonathan Mast, I'm Mike Goldstein with Kitchen Remodeling SEO. Talk to you again soon, or see you at our webinar next month.